Dear colleagues, dear partners, dear friends, it is our pleasure to be here together, and for that we like to welcome the ambassador, Mrs. Nzanga. You're welcome. Yes, my name is Joshua Trust Ntambwe. I will be the moderator tonight because the main moderator is Her Excellency Mrs. Villatori from El Salvador. Because of medical leave, she could not come tonight. And I say hi to her, and I wish her a good recovery. Yes. And by now, I would like to say that in these coming hours, we are going to speak about the active diplomacy of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And for that, I would like to present, we will going to present to the Ambassador Excellencies. She will speak to us about the active diplomacy of the Democratic Republic of Congo. And after the panel discussion, we will have questions, very respective questions, and the questions which are according to the speech of the High Excellencies. And then I would like also to invite you to take the flyer about this Austrian Congolese society. To begin, I would like to say, in Austria, if you like to greet someone in Austria, you speak in Germany, one word which is called willkommen. Willkommen is in German language. So I would like to welcome you all here at the Austrian Congolese Society 2024 edition. Thank you. And in Austria, after that, if you go to Congo, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, if you like to welcome someone, there's a word which you say. One word you can say in Congo, you say, karibu, or you say, boyei malamu. These are the key words which can help you in Austria or in Congo to be kind to people. Thank you. And for this reason, I would like again, I welcome you to the Austrian Congolese Society 2024 edition. But here, we have a special person who knows about where we are here at the Diplomatic Academy, and this person, she's well to welcome you here. That's why allow me to give the floor to Mrs. Martina Schubert to welcome us all at the Diplomatic Academy. Thank you. You're welcome.
Excellency, Mr. Ntambwe, dear ladies and gentlemen, excellencies as well here in the public, a very well welcome here to the Diplomatic Academy in Vienna. It's a real pleasure for me to say also willkommen here in Wien. We are a very known institution here in Europe, and I think in the world. We celebrate this year 270 years. It's an institution of dialogue and of academic training and professional, I would say, exchange in different areas of international affairs. And this is why I'm particularly happy also today that we have the opportunity to have such a distinguished speaker here today with the moderation of Mr. Ntambwe to speak about the active diplomacy of the Democratic Republic of Congo. I would like to introduce shortly Ambassador Louise Ramazani. She is a career diplomat and ambassador of the Democratic Republic of Congo to Germany since December last year, 2023. Previously, she was ambassador of the Republic of Congo to the Kingdom of Spain 4 years, since 2018. And before that, she served as Consul General of the Democratic Republic of Congo in Antwerp. And I'm very honored that also the Belgian ambassador to Austria is here today in the public as well. Before that, she was a member of the Congolese delegation in the United Nations in New York in the Social Political Commission. And she has also experienced in Canada and was chargé d'affaires and head of the diplomatic mission in Ottawa. She has, let's say, really big interest also in the promotion of the rights of women and the fight against violence against women and children, and has founded a foundation called Masikini, which specializes in providing support for destitute and idle children. So fantastic that you can do this also in parallel of an intensive career as a diplomat and now posted in Berlin. I think you will have a lot to tell us about the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is a huge country. I mean, we have to imagine, we Austrian, we always say we are a middle-sized country. Just to give you a comparison, the size of the Democratic Republic of Congo is the size of Western Europe. It's enormous, it's really large, it's the largest country in the sub-Saharan Africa. And it has exceptional natural resources, from minerals such as cobalt and copper, hydropower potential, significant arable land, and you said this is really the treasure, is the arable land, immense biodiversity, and this world's second largest rainforest. So I would say a perfect, fantastic country. It has, but unfortunately, also a long history of conflict, of political upheaval, of instability, and also authoritarian rule that have led to grave ongoing humanitarian crisis. And in addition to that, it has been forced and there are a lot of displacement of populations. Unfortunately, the Democratic Republic of Congo is among the 5 poorest countries in the world. An estimate that 75% of Congolese people live less with $2 a day in 2023. And 1 of 6 people live in extreme poverty and in the sub-Saharan area, and 1 of 6 in the sub-Saharan area of these people live in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But there are also positive side, and also on the political side, there have been elections. Ambassador, you will speak about it also, how the government now is dealing with all these challenges about this substantial displacement crisis that you have gone through, the humanitarian crisis. So really, it's a big honor for us to welcome you here at the Diplomatic Academy, and to the participants here, I wish you really an interesting evening. Thank you.
Yes, what I like about the Diplomatic Academy, they have partners which are countries. Countries are partners of the Diplomatic Academy. And in this country, there is also the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's why I would like to welcome Excellencies, Ambassador of the Democratic Republic of Congo in Berlin to the speech now. You are welcome, Her Excellencies.
Thank you. Hello, good morning. I'm very easy to speak to French because I'm very easy for. I want to speak to him to French, please. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Ntambwe, for inviting me. And let me say to Ms. Schubert, we just spoke before about women. The women in the eastern part of Congo who are suffering, for example. It's not possible for us to be in Kinshasa, and there's this one part of Congo which does not enjoy peace. And that's why I would like to speak about active diplomacy today. We cannot speak about Congo without the part of Congo which is suffering, and those who are suffering most there are the women. Children are left alone sometimes. Everyone has to flee. And what's really worrying me is the violence that women have to suffer from. And I've always fight for this cause. It's a very important cause. You know that women are able to do 3 or 4 things at the same time. That's something women can do, and I apologize with the men who are here. Women aren't just married to men. Of course, in Africa, they also provide food to their children. So I would just ask for 2 minutes of silence in which we want to think of those women in the east of Congo who are suffering, and we are asking for peace to start for them. 2 minutes of silence, please. Let us think of these women.
Merci beaucoup. Merci.
I thank you. I had also prepared a few words for these women. Mr. Ntambwe, active diplomacy is important, but if we do not have peace, then we won't have active diplomacy either. And I have prepared those few words about, or for women, and I'm going to read them now. Dear sisters, dear mothers, dear grandmothers, dear wives, dear children, I'm speaking about women. We know that what you are suffering is really bad, and the wounds may never heal, but you should know that your value is defined by what you have suffered. You are stronger than you think. And although there has been suffering, life can still give you moments of light. Dear women in the east of the country, you deserve peace, you deserve a good life. Continue your fight with courage. Everything you do, every step is an act of resistance. It's proof that you are invincible. The world needs your force, your resilience, and the light you bring. No one should make this stop. We need eternal peace in the east of the DCR, our country. Thank you very much. I would like to thank you. Now back to active diplomacy. I am not done yet. This was just a short message for the women in the east of the DCR. We are here in Austria, but part of us is also there. Excellencies, dear colleagues, partners, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. It is my honor to speak to you tonight about a crucial subject, active diplomacy. In a world which is marked by challenges and geopolitical tensions, it is imperative that our diplomacy is not just reacting but also proactive, and that it follows a strategic approach. Today, it's no longer sufficient to react to crises once they have erupted. Our diplomacy needs to anticipate and transform potential messages in the direction of peace and development. This means that we have to have a stronger presence in the international circles, not just by words, but also followed by action for a more prosperous and peaceful world. Active diplomacy, Mr. Ntambwe, that's quite something. It also means to listen to our peoples, to understand what they wish for, what they need, to work together for lasting solutions. This also implies having stronger partnerships with friendly countries such as Germany or other countries in Europe which have always supported us with manifold kinds of help. Dear guests, dear students, I hope there are students as well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to commend the Vienna School of International Studies for its remarkable work. This institution has become a pillar of education for diplomats, not just in Austria, but the world over. There are several foundations. Ms. Schubert told me that since it's been founded more than 100 years, the Vienna School of International Studies has created a stimulating and interesting program where international cooperation is not just taught but also lived on a daily basis. You have taught generations of diplomats which have brought their ideals and knowledge to the entire world. I would like to congratulate the teachers of this institution, and I'm hoping that the students of this institution will not just leave this institution with the knowledge they have acquired here, but also with the abilities to persist in our world. You are the guardians of international diplomacy. Thanks to what you are learning here, you will be able to defend a fairer and more just world. The Diplomatic Academy is doing an excellent job, and this is also a source of inspiration for all of us. I would like to thank you for that.
Yes. Thank you, Her Excellencies, Ambassador Nzanga. Thank you very much for the speech. Yes, by now, we are about going for questions. I think we understood something in the speech and would like to invite people who have questions The questions are clear, the questions are brief, and are polite. We will appreciate your questions according to the speech which she has posed to us. You are welcome for questions for those who have questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Ambassador. A great speech and a lot of good insight. My question is that as Congo looks for the future, what specific steps are being taken so that the women population of Congo is also at frontier in development of the economy and also contributing in a positive way? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me just say that the economy in the DCR, can you hear me? Yes. So the economy in the DCR, my country, is really based on women. I can't tell you about any large projects, but I can give you examples for very small projects. If you go to a market, you will see that it's the women who are there. Of course, there are men too. But if you have 1,000 people who sell products on the markets, it's mainly women. It's the women who do the main work, who gather the products from the fields, who collect the agricultural products, who then sell them and who make a living for their families. So it's really the women who bring the food home. So it's women who make the economy go round. And so today we have a president who's very dynamic, who loves his country and who wants to do more for women's side. Since 1960, we haven't ever had women prime ministers. Nowadays, we have a woman who's prime minister. We have a woman who's our foreign minister. It's the third one, and our vice prime minister is also a woman. We have women in embassies, we have women in parliament, we have a very young parliament. And I think it's really women who hold our economy, because women aren't so prone to corruption. Men are much too proud, so it's really women who do the main job. So it's women who have that important role. Thank you.
Madam Ambassador, when COVID came in, it gave me, I had to regroup because I didn't know what to do with my time. So I took quite a bit of my time and I learned about Africa. And because I was not born on the continent, of course my family come from there as to the country that I was born in as slaves, from there as slaves. So I studied a lot about Africa, and I learned that part of my heritage is Congo through DNA. And I really liked the fact that you spoke about how women could make a huge impact on the country of Congo and with the children. Do you think that if other nations would just loose their grip on the Congo and let the Congo be in control and let the leaders really control that country, that it would make a huge impact, that if the Congo was in control of their own minerals and their own resources? Because from my reading and videos that I've watched, Congo people don't control those mineral resources. It's Europe and America and other countries. So do you feel that if this would change and the Congo was in control of their mineral resources, that women could do make a greater impact on this country?
Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you for this question. It's very good to hear that your DNA is Congolese and that you have your ancestors in my country. We are a very welcoming country, and I can say that you already have a visa for our country. If you have your DNA that is Congolese, then our doors are open. Now, speaking of COVID, COVID has helped us to learn a lot. Everything was closed, and so we had the ability to read a lot, to learn a lot, and it also helped you, as you said. And of course, I cannot speak for all of Africa, but if COVID had hit Africa stronger and even harder, then that would have been a disaster. So it's difficult because we don't have the medical resources, we don't have the hospitals. So it's really been incredible because COVID hasn't hit us that hard. When COVID broke, I was in Spain and it was terrible. It was horrible. We had to rent out a room for all the people who had died. So it was really a terrible time. Speaking about the mining industry, I don't want to speak too much about that because the main source of income for Congo is really agriculture. We have a very fertile territory. Tomatoes, they really grow well. So that's our minerals, really. Diamonds, gold, manganese, and so on. Those are minerals that really bring problems and not much else. We are a very welcoming country where maybe children don't have shoes, but they're happy. I've lived a bit everywhere in the world, in Belgium, other countries, and when I go back to Kinshasa, I'm happy. Now, for minerals, I think we don't really have a big future before us. I don't want to enter into too many details about that. I think we should really focus on agriculture, and that will help us develop.
Next question. We start, yes, by there. Thank you.
I would like to speak French. I'm Congolese myself, and out of courtesy for the ambassador, I would like to speak French. And the ambassador says, I'm sorry if I did not reply to all your questions. Did I reply to all your questions? Or was there anything I did not reply to?
It's okay. At least you heard my question. So it's just something I think it would be great if everybody just kind of, think about what really is the problem that's going on in Congo. It's more than just the agriculture. It's a lot. And I do pray for Congo and Africa as a whole. But it's okay. But thank you for what you did say.
Merci beaucoup. Merci. Excusez-moi, monsieur. Excusez-moi, mon frère.
Oui, nous sommes là ce soir parlant d'une diplomatie
We are here today to speak about active diplomacy. Active diplomacy needs open partnerships that are win-win partnerships, as we say. Since the presidential tenure of Felix Tshisekedi started, we've had many hypocritical developments. We have had partnerships which really did not work out. And countries that supposedly support us even support the countries that attack us. So what will the DCR
qui n'aident
say
pas, qui ne viennent
about
pas en
these
aide à la RDC,
hypocritical
mais au
partners,
contraire,
which do not
poignardent
help
la
the
RDC par
DCR,
devant,
but actually stab
tout
our
en
country in the
argumentant
back.
qu'ils sont des partenaires privilégiés,
These
alors qu'il n'y a
are
pas de
privileged
privilèges
partners, but there are no
aucun
privileges, really.
de la part de ceux-là. Quelle
It's
est
quite
la
the
position
contrary. So
de
what
notre pays
is the
par
position
rapport
of our
à ces
country
partenaires
with regard
hypocrites?
to
Merci.
these hypocritical partners?
Merci beaucoup, mon frère.
Thank you.
Vous avez parlé de partenaires en général.
You have not mentioned any specific partners. You just mentioned partnerships in general, and I will not name names either. I think our president, Felix, we cannot speak about his first mandate, so we're not going to talk about that. It was a difficult time. But it's very important that there be elections so that he can be confirmed. And he has been elected in a universal suffrage. So he is elected. He is a dynamic president who loves his country. And as you know, he promised that he would work for health, education, and partnerships. He said he will not rest. He will work every day to find true friends who will lead us to have partnerships that will really be win-win. He is working for that. But of course, it's up to us to support him. You are here in Austria. You have gathered some expertise here in Austria. You have to go back and bring back what you have learned. The doors are open. You're welcome there. So we need your experience so that our government can also be helped in their endeavors. I've been to Canada, I've been to Belgium, to Spain. I'm here today. You know, we always organize meetings or events, maybe every 2 or 3 months to assess what is working and what isn't. And I then go back to Kinshasa with the outcome of these meetings, with the assessment of what we did. So our president is working for these win-win partnerships. And that's why some things are simply not negotiable. If I did not reply to all your questions, please do let me know. Are you happy with the reply? Thank you.
La prochaine question.
Next question. This was some Congolese, which we unfortunately cannot interpret. But the lady says she will speak French so that everyone can follow. Good evening and welcome to our country, to Austria. It's really a first that we now have an ambassador in Austria. Well, I'm really in Germany, says Madam Ambassador. Now, my question is as follows. We are speaking about active diplomacy tonight. What are your expectations? What do you expect from this diplomacy? What do you expect from Austria, from the Austrians? What can the Austrians do with regard to Congo?
Je crois que c'est une question que nous... C'est une question pour vous et pour moi.
This is a question that is really for yourself and for me, because you certainly know Austria better than me. I have a friend here. We always refer to women as maman and to men as papa. And I have a papa here in Austria, and I asked him to give me some of his expertise. And when we spoke with Miss Schubert before, I asked her, couldn't we make sure that our diplomatic school in the Congo can send its diplomatic students to your school here, this would be really important because it would allow them to learn. I've had other meetings and I've seen many people. We have friends in India, in China, who bring water in plastic bottles. That's nice, but we have so much plastic material in the Congo. So where are we going? What are we going to do with all the plastics? We don't have anything to transform or to process the plastic. It's everywhere. It's everywhere in the environment. That's really a concern. And maybe we can have a city partnership with Vienna and our or a twinning project with our cities and your cities. There are many things that need to be done, and we need some experience. But the question is always, what can Austria do for us? But what can we do for you as well? You cannot just always expect to be helped and ask for help. This has to be a mutual effort. For example, we have problem with medical supplies, with dialysis. We have a military camp, for example, where medical supplies or medical services are offered. But there are so many people who cannot go there, who have to pay for medical services. Kinshasa, for example, has 12 million inhabitants. I heard that in Austria you have 9 million inhabitants for the entire country. So there are so many things. One of the main things to start from is education. For example, we don't have that many schools. We have, for example, 3 classrooms for a huge area. And when I went back to Congo recently, I've seen children who hadn't gone to kindergarten, let alone to school. And so I wanted to make sure that they will have a place, that they will have a seat even in school, you know. The chairs you're sitting on, we have 4 children sitting on such a chair at school because we don't have enough chairs. And when I make my requests, I'm being told, no, it's not possible. We cannot do that. We don't have the means. So these are our children. We have to make sure that they learn to read, to write, that they can go to school. That will be the first step for them. That's what we need.
Yes, before the next question, I'd just like to recall Her Excellency that there is water.
No, I'm okay.
Yes, you're
I'm
okay.
okay.
Thank you
I'm
very
okay.
much.
J'ai l'habitude avec les discours.
Wonderful.
Voilà.
Thank
Oui.
you. You
Bonjour, Madame l'ambassadrice.
Oui.
Moi, je suis l'aîné.
Good evening.
Maman Kassobo-Wanyé, qui est votre secrétaire là-bas.
I am working for your secretary. Excellent. She is someone who worked for 50 years at the embassy. Now, my name is Kasumo. I'm a pastor.
Ça nous plaît d'ailleurs de vous voir parmi nous.
It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Toute occasion est favorable d'inviter
And I think
les gens
it's
la cause
always
profonde
good to have
de notre difficulté au Congo. Parce que oui, on a
an-
plusieurs difficultés, mais il y a
a possibility to speak about the problems we have. There's a waging war in our country, and a country which is at war is a country which does not enjoy peace and which cannot develop. And we do have a war which is waging in the Congo. And of course, our souls are back there. And most Congolese who are abroad do not raise these topics. what I want is that you really speak out like our president. Our president explains the Congolese cause. So please give us the privilege, speak about the reasons for the war that is waging in Congo, which has been waging for too long. Please tell us. Second,
du Congo en Autriche.
um,
Est-ce que vous avez des nouvelles par rapport à ça?
do you have any news about plans to establish an embassy in Austria? And then why is Rwanda being supported, which has been aggressing us? Why is the European Union concluding agreements with Rwanda? Why is there no diplomatic development vis-à-vis our country? Can you give us some explanations about that? Thank you. So it's really good to know that you are a nephew of Madame Kasongo. She's been at the embassy for 50 years. She knows the embassy and she knows our country very well. Now, it's been more than 30 years that we have had this war in our country, and we're lucky in the sense that the Congo is a very large country. If ours was a small country, we wouldn't be able to be here. So that's really the good thing. So the problem is the mining activities, gold, diamonds, and so on, and petroleum. I'm not going to name any countries that these resources are going to. I don't want to create any problems, but it's these resources. So, for example, take your phones. Where do you think the minerals that have been built into your phones are coming from? So the real problem is the minerals. And that's why I said before, I don't want to speak about the mining industry. Rather, I would focus on agriculture. So why are we focusing on the mining industry? It's really the mining industry which is at fault when it comes to the war, and the people behind the mining industry. We know about that, but what can we do? We are a country rich in minerals. We've been given these resources, but what we need now is a dialogue. We have this war which has been waging. We need to get together. We need to negotiate. Look at what happened in Germany. They had the wall in Berlin. It was torn down. They got together at the negotiating table and stopped it. This is what we need to do. And this is also what our ambassadors need to do. The eastern part of the Congo is suffering. We are losing women, children. They are disappearing. Germany is a good example. They managed to have peace. If they managed, then we have to manage too. It's our country. It's our country, and we have to do it for our people. And what about setting up an embassy in Austria? That's still a project. It's being planned. We had an ambassador here until 1987, but it's still far from being realized. You know, setting up an embassy requires a lot of funds. I think I also spoke to one of our brothers. President has been re-elected for a year. He needs some time. He has done many things in this year, but maybe the embassy isn't the first priority. Now, currently, our embassy in Germany is responsible. I'm there. It's not too far, so I'm there for Austria as well. And I've only been the ambassador to Germany for a few months. I'm there. That's not been a long time, but my door is always open. You can always come to me. I'll be happy to give you any advice I can. And you know, whenever you want, you can really come and see me at the embassy. Since I've been in office, I've managed to also have many passports renewed of our citizens who came to see me. And we also have another colleague in Kinshasa who's going to take over very soon, and he will be in charge of the renewal of passports. That has been a problem in the past. And it's, of course, us who need to provide the data. If we don't have the data, passports cannot be issued. And of course, all of this needs to be checked and reviewed. You've seen what happens if these things are not under control. You've seen the foiled coup that happened in our country. There were rumors about passports. So this is something that needs to be under control. These data have to be controlled by a system. And once this will be set up and working, we can issue passports in 4 or 5 days, as in other countries. Good evening. Unfortunately, we cannot interpret other languages than French and English. I'm sorry.
Translate.
Salaki projet pour na Congo.
Oui.
She was doing a project about Congo.
No, the father working to in embassy before.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I start from there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ok, ça va. Alors. Ok. Ok. Avec l'ambassadeur Bukonga.
Ambassadeur Boulambo.
Boulambo,
qui était
avant.
Oui.
Qui était en Grèce après, oui.
Bon, papa sala projet moko pona Congo Rai.
Ok.
Congo nango.
Again, we are very sorry we cannot interpret other languages than French and English.
Bake nango tina Kinshasa.
Oui.
Tina Congo. Bakomi na maboko na biso ya bandeko na biso.
Oui.
Mais biso moko bandeko na biso moko nde toboya ki projet wana.
Mais malheureusement, certains ont refusé le projet. En fait, eux voulaient d'abord l'argent avant de pouvoir commencer le projet.
First wanted to get the money before starting the project.
Chemin de fer.
Le projet, c'était donc un projet de chemin de fer, Congo Rail.
So it was a railroad project, Congo Rai.
Bon, ezalaki projet moko munene pona Congo mobimba ezalaki te kaka pona Kinshasa. Po papa atamboli na asaleli musala l'État, atamboli presque Congo mobimba. Là ça commence quitter Zekane Équateur.
En fait, c'était un grand projet, pas uniquement pour Kinshasa, mais pour tout le Congo.
It was actually a major project, not just for Kinshasa, but for the entire Congo. And her father worked on it.
Mbongo liboso. Bazomona teke d'abord tozobikisa na population. Population eza na nzala parce que soki bozangi nzela ndenge nini boko zwa biloko akolia. C'était ça quoi, c'était un peu ça.
En fait, le problème, c'est que ce projet était un excellent projet, mais il a échoué à cause toujours de ce problème d'argent.
An excellent project, but there were funding problems and it was difficult to advance. So payments had to be made before the project work could even start.
Papa nangai azali mwana ya roi Congo. Touti na mwana suka ya roi Congo.
Donc
En plus, je suis de lignée royale de par mon père. Nous descendons du roi Congo.
I am a descendant of the royal family, both from my father's and my mother's side.
Voilà tout ce que je voulais dire. Je vous remercie.
And that was all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Excellency.
Oui, je vais traduire le na lingala, c'est mieux.
Oh. Please, that it's also good,
Il y a un problème, en français, on va traduire en anglais.
Ok, ça va. Donc, maman, est-ce que le projet le quoi, papa Zalina ou papa Zasu?
Donc, est-ce que le projet là, il est toujours viable et est-ce que ton papa
Is the project still ongoing? Is your father still alive? Yes, he's.
Un projet, en fait, ça ne meurt jamais.
A project can never die. I'm here.
Le projet, parce que papa a invité Kingame, na suki kapa na été kasa donc na leki beaucoup.
Donc ce projet-là, je suis vraiment intéressée. On va voir comment.
Yes, I'm here. I'm really interested in this project, and I want to see what we can do for this project.
Transport. A Sengi, biso toko mboka ya munene. Toko bandaka na Kinshasa Matadi.
En fait, le projet va intéresser le ministre des Transports.
The project will interest the Transport Ministry. We already talked to them about it. We were already talking about doing the first part of it.
Parce qu'à Matadi, et du côté de Matadi à Boma, c'est là aussi où c'est la ville portuaire. Donc,
that's where there is the harbor city. That's very important.
Parce qu'à Matadi, tout ce qui vient de l'extérieur.
In Matadi, everything incoming has to go by the port of Matadi.
Et notre ministre, justement,
and our ministry is very interested in these projects, aviation, transport, railways.
Kinshasa Matadi, c'est aussi step by step.
Donc en fait, nous avons déjà commencé ce
We have started working on this project between Kinshasa and Matadi, and we may be able to do a few similar projects in regions of Congo that are very interesting in terms of transport.
Voilà, donc en fait, vous savez, le Congo est grand, il y a plusieurs régions comme le
Congo is a big country with different provinces, Kansai, Nzanga, the eastern provinces, and so this project will start between Matadi and Kinshasa, then we will go on until Kasai, etc. So, you know, the vision goes far.
Ce qui papa Alembi, okoko yanango, toko intéressé mboka. Il n'y a pas de problème.
Donc on va en parler, on pourra en parler donc en privé.
We can talk about this bilaterally, no problem. Thank you very much.
What we call international promoting human development, multicultural languages also, because our objective is human at the center of all our projects. Thank you very much. It's so interesting to hear also other languages.
Madame.
We give the floor to Her Excellency's Ambassador. Thank you.
Merci, Excellence. Merci d'être à Vienne. Très contente, très heureuse.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you for being here. I'm pleased to meet you. Now, my question is about the importance of the diplomacy of human resources. Could you maybe say a few words about the diplomatic network Congo enjoys in the world, and what is your interest not just in country-to-country partnerships, but maybe also with regard to international partnerships? You were in New York and Canada? No, apparently just in Canada. In any case, there might be chances also with regard to training young diplomats in the Congo. You said something about a possible collaboration with the Vienna School of International Studies. What are the specific plans in this respect? Thank you. Now, we do have a school for diplomats at the foreign ministry. It's a young institution which really needs to cooperate with other institutions. Our diplomats back home don't know Austria, they don't know Europe, so they really need to come here to gain experience. We need these possibilities. Maybe twinning projects could be an idea. In Canada, in Spain, I had contacts with a school for diplomats, and we were in contact with young diplomats. You know, young people are our future. And now we do have these contacts with Spain, and maybe it would be an option for them to come here too. In Vienna, in Berlin, we started contacts with the Goethe Institute, and there maybe there's still some things we need to catch up on, but this is an initiative that I'm trying to push. Was there another question that I forgot about? Multilateral cooperation. Well, we are a member of the United Nations. We have a permanent mission in New York. We also have an embassy in Washington, so we are very active there in the United States. Our ambassador in the United States is actually a woman as well. And there was a Mr. Hammer. I called him the Hammer because he was really everywhere, and we're working a lot in the area of human resources, pilot projects that are being started. There was a lot of help that we received from the United States. They sent us backpacks, for example, for school kids, and other materials, a whole kit for school work for the kids, pencils, pens, and so on. So there were things that were sent to them. It was not always clear for the little ones what they should do with it. Some thought there was also food, but in fact it was material for them to use at school.
Nous avons des Congolaises aussi qui sont là-bas aux Nations Unies.
We have colleagues who work at the United Nations. Some of them have U.S. citizenship, and they also offer their help. So the Congo is very present there in all areas, and we have very good relations with the United Nations.
Thank you very much. The next question will come from this side. Thank you. We're coming later. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellency, welcome to Vienna.
Yes.
We are very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
My name is Jack. I'm speaking in English, so I hope you can.
Yes.
All right.
I understand very well, but I'm very easy to answer to French.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So my name is Jack. I am coming from a neighbor country, Kenya.
Yeah.
We love Congo very much. We love
your
your
ambassador
music.
in Berlin is friend.
Yes.
His wife.
Yeah, I know her. She was here in Vienna before, and
Okay.
then she got posted in Berlin.
Oh, yeah.
So I have got 2 questions. Myself, I am a consultant, and I have a big network of Austrian businesses, and I try and help them to get into the African market. And my question is, are there systems in Congo in which these businesses can operate? And the second part of that question is, which industries or sectors are available for these businesses to penetrate in, especially as you are very passionate about women empowerment? Which industries or sectors that can empower women can attract Austrian businesses to Congo? And the second question is about cultural diplomacy. Since Congo is also very rich in culture, do you have any plans to promote Congolese culture through events or something like that? For example, I love Lingala, Congo music, and I'm sure many Austrians would also like that. Are there any plans of promoting culture and music and art from Congo? Thank you.
Welcome.
Merci beaucoup. Je crois que je vais répondre sur
Thank you very much. I think I will first reply to the second question. You were talking about affairs, but you were not talking about which business you meant. So everybody can contribute, but you would need to specify what type of business you are talking about. For the second question, Congolese culture under Mbutu, there were many who didn't know Zaire, and Congo was known everywhere. I took part in a mission to Arizona, and when I talked about Zaire, they didn't know what I was talking about. Congo, they didn't know either. Zaire, they didn't understand what that was. But when I talked about a special book, everybody knew what I was talking about. They said, yes, we had read that. And when I arrived in Spain as ambassador of the DRC, the International Tourism Organization, promoted economy in Spain, and I knew to understand the importance of rumba for culture, and Mr. Simba played a very important role back then. I also invited a few sculptures from my country, extraordinary sculptures. I invited them to the country, let alone dance. Dance plays a very important role. Even if everything is not perfect in my country, everybody knows the importance of dance, especially in the quarter in which I grew up. Everybody was dancing in the streets. That was always a very positive aspect of our culture. And I knew somebody with whom I could work on this. We invited everybody to contribute to this project. So culture is everywhere in Congo, not only in the academies and universities and schools, also those who had never been on high schools have a very rich culture. I don't say that because that's my country, but because it's the truth. Minerals, that's not everything. Our minerals is art, is sculpture, is paintings. I know one of the most important sculptors of all times. He was a cousin of mine. His wife is Austrian, she's in Kinshasa today, and many Austrians live in Kinshasa. They live there. And when you go to Belgolese, you will see a sculpture, and that is precisely one of his sculptures. He's an extraordinary sculptor. At the Akademie des Beaux-Arts in our country, there are students who follow his example. So what was your first question? About what business were you talking about? Because Congo is so big, so I would want to know what exactly you're talking about. Everybody is welcome, but I would like to know a bit more. Congo is waiting for everyone.
I was asking about the sectors or industry which are most marketable in Congo, not for specific businesses, but which, for example, you mentioned that agriculture is an industry which businesses could focus on. So I can imagine that from here in Austria, they have a lot of agricultural machineries which could be needed in the Congo. And so I was asking which other industries or sectors of business are available in the Congo that could attract businesses?
Anything really. Of course, in business, you cannot just say, give us anything. You have to make a selection. I already mentioned plastics. Our Minister of Industrial Affairs recently brought a tile factory to our country. You know, tiles are quite expensive. I saw here that you have machinery where you can collect plastics waste and it is crushed. So this is something that could be useful. Then in Kenya, I've seen people in Kenya who are active in car parts, for example. Car parts, that would be a business. In agriculture, let me not even get started. We need tractors. We have the workforce, we have the fields. But these are people who work in the open fields in the sun. And then, as I mentioned, plastics and pollution in general, that is a real concern of mine. So we have people there who can collect the waste, but the problem is, how do you process the plastics waste? What do you do with it? That's something we need to solve. So if you have an idea for a project, my door is always open. Come to me with your ideas. My door is open, and we can then choose 1 or 2 promising projects.
We have again 15 minutes. You can say yes.
Oui, je pose une question par rapport à la sécurité.
A question about security, the security situation in our country, which is worrying.
Nous avons eu l'épisode avec l'EAC.
We have had the issue with EAC, which has not really brought the expected outcome.
Nous avons eu l'amertume dans l'âme quand nous avons appris
we are really, the East African community, I mean, and we are really sad about this. We had hopes for the MONUSCO, which was supposed to support the SADC. We love Kenya, we are friends with Kenya, but their president's politics showed to us what can happen. I'm thinking of the fate of Paul Kagame.
Alors que le monde a vu, nous avons vu, les Congolais ont vu qu'il a pu cause et effet.
We have seen in the Congo what happened with Paul Kagame. Now, why are we accepting support from Kenya? That is my first question. Second question about our brothers, our friends who have been suffering and who have had huge problems to get a passport. If they don't have a passport, they have to find a solution. Usually they have to travel to Germany. So our friends here in Austria who don't have a passport, of course we're in the Schengen area, but still they have to travel to Germany. And the consulate cannot issue passports, they cannot send passports. So what can we do about our citizens who have been suffering from this situation? Let me start with the first question. You know, in our world, there's always good people and bad people. The same applies to the Congo and to Kenya. So you cannot just accuse people of being bad, and that's it. There are good people, there are bad people. I hope you understand what I mean. I'm in politics, and even here in Austria, you have good people, you have bad people. It's the same everywhere in the world. I would say, let's trust our president. Let's trust him. We cannot talk about details here, even though I'm in politics, but let's trust our president to take care of this. He has taken care of this. And I think things are going to get sorted. We are not going to live in a country which is at war forever. The war has to stop. So let's trust our president. He has been elected. His hands are no longer tied, and the heads of state of other countries have promised support. He is going to sacrifice himself to make sure that the war is going to end. I'm convinced that it is going to end. I'm worried myself about the violence that is being done to women. And as regards your second question, the passports. Passports are really issued in Kinshasa. There was a company that had been tasked with this, and it was a fiasco, let's be honest. And our president Mr. Tshisekedi was in Brussels earlier, and this was really one of his main preoccupations when he was in post there. Now, what happened is that I got a call one morning, and I was told that I need to get moving immediately. So that this issue could be solved. Now, when it comes to the consulate, it's not just the consulate which is in charge of this. There's a whole machinery behind it. We need a general authorization that things can be handled here in Austria by the consulate. What we do is we can issue attestations. You know that we have people coming from Brussels, from Paris, who come to our embassy, even from Switzerland, to have their passport issued. The embassies and the consulates, they are the face of our country. They represent our country. When I get a call from a Congolese, I will go and see them. My kind of diplomacy is the diplomacy that deals with people, that meets people. When I was in Canada, I was also in charge of Cuba, because we only had 40 Congolese in Cuba. Well, nowadays we opened an embassy in Cuba because there are more Congolese people there. And then once you have an embassy in a country, you can also work on other relationships, commercial relationships, trade, business, and so on. So we have our president who does things as they need to be done. We used to have another ambassador in Germany, a woman. She knows Germany very well. And today we have established very close business contacts with Germany. That is something that started back then. And this is something where I also try to help. We need, of course, the possibility to issue passports, and we have this company from Germany, they are called Dermalog, that is being used to take the fingerprints. You know, for passports, you have to take fingerprints.
Ceux-là, s'ils ne sortent pas, je demande quand même à la police, s'il faut faire le passeport, il faut qu'ils sortent.
And of course,
Devant le Congo, qui est l'ambassade,
as long as you cannot take someone's fingerprints, you cannot issue a passport for them. There are Congolese people who, for example, are in a hospital. They are sick. They cannot go to the embassy. So I do hope that we will find a solution to those problems. There are those issues that cannot be solved from one day to another, but we have to try and find a solution. Microphone, please.
Depuis 2011, on a un constitut. S'il vous plaît d'avoir coupé la parole comme ça. C'est une préoccupation.
No, this is a situation that has been going on since 2011. We've had the consulate here since 2011, but it hasn't really helped us. We have the consul here. We had approached him or her once because we had an issue, but the problem is that you can hardly ever get to him or her. I don't even know if it's a woman or a man. It's difficult to get in contact, and so it's actually easier to go to Berlin. So I don't know if this is something where you can help, where they do not have enough power here. What is the Congolese consul doing in Austria? I think he's not doing anything. Well, there is a consul general. He's an honorary consul. That can be someone from China, from Gabon. It can also be Congolese who have taken on Austrian or German citizenship, but these are honorary posts. The consul general is a person who can issue certifications, who can issue passports, but an honorary consul is like a friend of our country who can try to give some help. My predecessor, who's no longer there, you know him, he had started a project with the consulate, and I know that Ursula, our consul here, helped him, and the problem is that they cannot issue visas. They can help with business relationships, but they have an honorary function. And for example, they have put me in contact for medical supplies, dialysis providers, these kinds of things that I have managed to set up thanks to their support. But again, they are consuls, they are representing us, but they have an honorary function. They cannot issue things such as certifications or passports. That's the general consulates and the embassies that are doing that. They are career diplomats. So honorary consuls cannot take on the job that an embassy or that a general consulate has. So the honorary consul has its functions, and maybe the Congo is paying for their offices and supplies, but that's all we can do. I can also give you the example of an embassy, which is not in Germany or in Switzerland. They can hand over certain tasks to an honorary consul. When I was in Spain, the ambassador of Congo Brazzaville, he also covered Spain, but he also covered another country close to Spain, and they had made sure to have an honorary consul there to help him with covering that country. So that's more or less how this works. So they really have just an honorary function. They give us some support, but they cannot take on official functions.
In 5 minutes, we have to stop questions.
I'll be very brief, I promise you.
Only one question, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Your Excellency, thank you for being here. Welcome to Vienna. My name is Kavita Verma. I am the chair for United Nations Women Guild, Bazaar. It's a charity organization. My question is related to education for children. If you can put some light that is the education in Congo for children is compulsory, how many children are going, like percentage-wise, how many of them are going to the school? Do you have place for technical, professional education so that they can do some courses so that they can get employment? As I said, I am very brief. Thank you for answering all the questions. I was listening. You had so much of patience and you were to the point. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Well, that's normal. We are here to have an exchange. So, of course, I have to be patient. I've traveled here from Berlin to be here with you and to have this exchange with you. Now, as regards your question, we have many private schools. We have professional schools that are privately managed. Of course, we also have state-run schools, but of course, their situation is often not very good, and that's why I also mentioned this example before where I helped set up 3 classrooms. Now, our pupils and students, they are very motivated. They want to go to school. We have schools in city centers. For example, Sacré-Cœur, Kolimba. You know, the Congo is a very large country. There are places you don't even have access to. The Congo is really a huge country with many remote areas, and it's difficult to get to people there to make sure that children can go to school. But Congolese women are really strong. They would walk for miles and miles to make sure that children can go to school. We have many people who do fantastic things, for example, clothes and so on. They've never been at school for even a day. They cannot write or read, but they look at you and they know what size you wear. Of course, we have private schools. In remote areas, private schools are, of course, expensive. But again, women there are strong. They will go to the river, they will catch fish to give food to their children. They will make sure their children can get along.
Question. We have again 4 minutes. This 4 minutes, I don't know if there's a quick question or Excellencies have something to say to us in 4 minutes.
Il y a quelqu'un là-bas aussi.
Ah, so, ça. Yes. 4 minutes. Thank you.
Oui, je réponds au nom.
Moi, je voulais juste répondre un tout petit peu aussi à madame.
Let me maybe just add another thing. You know, Congo is not just living in misery. We have so many young people who work for companies like Orange, in telecommunications companies that are doing very well. They may never have been to Europe, but they are speaking a very good French. So it's a wonderful country. And let me thank you again for your questions. It's really been important for me. Final question. Yes, I have a concern. What is the procedure? What is the procedure for getting back Congolese nationality? It's very easy, in fact. We only have one nationality, so you have to renounce the citizenship or nationality you have, you or the person who is concerned. And then once this has been done, you just come and see us and you will be issued a passport. Well, we have been promised double nationality. Well, I don't know what your request really is. Well, there are two questions. The first question was, what is the procedure to get back a Congolese nationality? And the second question is, what about the promise that was actually made by the president with regard to double nationalities? Well, this is a promise that is going back quite some time. It's been Kabila who made this promise, and it's in Parliament. At the time he made this promise, and it's still not been solved. So we're still waiting for Parliament to decide. But you can always write or call us or maybe get in contact with Parliament.
Thank you very much, all of your questions. I can say they are very wonderful and good questions. I thank you, and Her Excellencies was having very good answer. I'm really happy, and thank every one of us to this for coming tonight. And what I would like to say in FMA, IPHD-International Forderung menschliche Entwicklung, we always, when I listened to all the questions, it was only surrounding looking for the good, for the well of human being. All we like in international promoting human development, we like, if I like to go to Mumbai, to Dubai, to Asia, to, I don't know, to US, to have life like the same thing I may have here. This is our vision. Somehow it's a dream which cannot be achieved. But we dream that in IPHD, that we like to see every human being everywhere in a well, good conditions. Thank you very much. And for this, we are going to finish. And everyone is invited for something which we have prepared. Is typical African, special Congolese food with Austrian food, as we are in the project about Austria and Congolese society. It means about Austria and Congolese food. Everyone is invited except nobody. Thank you.